Welcome today to Funding Your Degree with Scholarships. This is part of the Making Money Moves webinar series. This webinar series is co-hosted by several University of Illinois system partners, including the University of Illinois Student Money Management Center, UIC Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships, and the UIC African American Academic Network. Part of this series will also include webinars from the Get Savvy, Grow Your Green Stuff webinar series, which is an annual series co-hosted by several universities across the state of Illinois, along with University of Illinois Extension. We are going to talk a little bit about who is presenting today. My name is Andrea Pellegrini, and I am the Assistant Director of the Student Money Management Center. I run the Student Money Management Center out of the billing office for the entire University of Illinois system. So today I'm in Urbana, but sometimes I'm in Chicago and sometimes I'm in Springfield. We provide financial education through webinars like what you're experiencing today, but we also do workshops. We do a lot of online outreach like social media and e-newsletters. We also have I'm going to hand it over to Kara to talk a little bit about what she does in her office.
Thank you, Andrea, and hi, everyone. My name is Kara Holloway, and I work in the Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships at UIC, where I serve as the Director of Scholarships. And I have to tell you, two of my favorite things are helping students identify scholarship opportunities and prepare their competitive applications so that they can be considered seriously for the opportunities and become recipients.
Thank you, Kara. So today we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but I again want you to get familiar with that chat. So tell us in the chat where you're logging in from today. I'm logging in from Urbana on the quad, but I know that Pedro, who's one of the grad assistants working on the chat today, is in Chicago, and Kendra is one of the grad assistants also working on the chat today, who's in Urbana. So,
and I see UIC.
Yeah. UIC, Champaign, Extension. Thank you. We love Extension. Okay, lots of UIC people, lots of Urbana people. Okay, so we're going to cover these types of things today. We're going to define what a scholarship is and what it is not. We're going to talk about the scholarship search process so you can better understand what you need to do. We're going to identify a few tools and resources to help you on your scholarship search, and we're going to identify how to create a strong scholarship application. We're also going to want you to recognize how to manage scholarships in an overall financial plan. So we'll talk a little bit about budgeting your scholarships and what impacts your ability to spend your scholarships on different things. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Kara to talk about the chat.
Yeah, so we have our initial chat for you today. We'd just like to know what you think a scholarship is, and I'd also like to get an idea of where you search for scholarships.
So if you're having trouble finding the chat feature, it's if you hover over that black box and click the little dots and then select chat, you can put in the chat. Oh, we have someone saying that scholarships are money for tuition that doesn't have to be repaid. Scholarships to aid in the payment of fees to attend an event or school. Great.
Free money. Absolutely. Those are all great answers, and they're all correct. So a scholarship is a type of financial aid that you don't have to pay back. You'll often hear us calling it gift aid, a gift, or even free money. Now, I'd like for you to know that a healthy financial aid package is usually a combination of things. It's not solely relying on scholarships. So it will include scholarships, it will include loans, yes, loans, and we'll talk about healthy debt and money management in a future part of the webinar series, as well as grants. There are three primary sources of scholarships, and we can go to the next slide. Okay, another chat feature for you here. What is your major and year in school? Okay, I see neuroscience, I see finance, chemistry, I see a couple of juniors. Oh, we've even got a parent with us. Awesome, preparing for college. We have an econ major in graduate studies. Okay. And that's all important because you want to consider applying for scholarships in terms of where you are in your progress of school. One thing I'd like to lift up, searching for scholarships is like a course. You can continue to search for scholarship opportunities throughout your educational process. Let's go to the next slide. We have a true or false statement for you. Scholarship awards are instant. Do you think that statement is true or false? Let us know. Okay, it looks like a number of people are replying false. And so let's go to the next slide. That would be correct. Scholarships are not instant. Scholarships do require a searching process, an application process, and of course, an awarding process. Many times, scholarships that you will apply for will actually award or disperse the money in the future. It can be several months after you have been selected to receive the award that you will actually see it hit your account. And we also have to caution that, remember, you may not be the recipient of every scholarship that you apply for. There are three primary sources of scholarships: governments. So when we talk about grants, perhaps you're familiar with the Pell Grant and the MAP Grant, colleges and universities, and private organizations, meaning businesses, foundations, community organizations, and the like. Now, one thing that I hear students tell me often is that they don't want to apply for a scholarship opportunity because they don't have a 4.0, and they're confident that only students with a very high GPA are the recipients. I'd like for you to know that selection committees are looking for well-rounded students. So yes, good grades do play a role, but so do things such as your student leadership, your community service and engagement, perseverance, your integrity, your motivation. Selection committees also want to know about the things that you've accomplished and how you've gotten there, as well as what your future goals are and how you plan to get there. How do you conduct a scholarship search? Well, I like to say start locally and then expand globally. What does that mean? Well, let's take a look at the local search. Each University of Illinois campus has an online database or search engine to help you. So at Urbana-Champaign, we have the scholarship database. In Chicago, UIC SNAP, and in Springfield, UIS Financial Aid. You can also check with mentors, professors, department heads, advisors. They might know of opportunities that you would be a good match to apply for. And then, of course, I highly recommend exploring your personal connections on and off campus. So check with family and friends, check with employers, churches, and other organizations that you've been involved with. And I'd like to lift up that if you check, let's say, with your church, or if you've been a member of a particular troop, or even an employer like let's say the local Burger King, if they don't have an opportunity, don't give up. Oftentimes, those types of organizations have regional opportunities or even national opportunities. let's take a glance at the system that we use at UIC, which is UIC SNAP. Students are able to access UIC SNAP through 3 ways. There's the direct link of uic.academicsworks.com. There's access through the UIC SNAP website, and then finally through each individual student's portal. Now, in order to be considered for scholarship opportunities here at UIC, one must access UIC SNAP, complete, and then submit the general application. And what you're looking at now is the login page for UIC SNAP. And I'd like to share my screen with you so that we can take a look at what students see once they log in. Okay, and can you guys see my screen? So we're taking a glance at UIC SNAP. Once a student logs in, this is the landing page, and you'll see that it contains the general application. The information on the general application is pretty basic. And honestly, guys, it only takes 7 minutes to complete the general application. So it's key, and I recommend that everyone that's at UIC goes ahead, accesses SNAP, and completes this. Again, 7 minutes, and you're done. And that 7 minutes can have great outcomes for you. Let's go back to the slides. So the benefit of UIC SNAP, let's back up one, thanks. The benefit of UIC SNAP is that once the general application is submitted, the data on that general application will be compared to all of the criteria for every opportunity within the system. For any opportunity that does not ask for information beyond what was already collected on the general application, that application is put into the pool of consideration, or if you will, auto-matched to those opportunities. The second thing that will happen is that if an opportunity does require some additional information, so let's say some additional questions or a letter of recommendation or perhaps even an essay, then SNAP will send an alert by campus email indicating to the students that they should come back to UIC SNAP, take a look at the description and criteria, and then decide if they'd like to apply for that opportunity. Now, once you've exhausted your local opportunities, it's time to expand global. Did you know that simply by putting a word or a phrase before scholarships on, let's say, a search engine like Google or whichever your favorite search engine is, that you could yield results? But be warned, you do need to exercise caution. And Andrea is going to tell us a little bit more about that.
Sorry, helps if I unmute myself. So there's a lot of scholarship fraud out there and other types of financial aid fraud. And the Federal Trade Commission, which is tasked with protecting consumers and educating consumers on their rights when it comes to avoiding fraud or handling financial decision, cautions students to look and listen for these telltale signs that you might be looking at scholarship fraud. It might say, the scholarship is guaranteed or your money back. I just need your credit card or bank account number to hold this scholarship. You can't get this information anywhere else. We'll do all the work, you just pay a processing fee. The scholarship will cost some money. And my personal favorite, you're a finalist in a contest you never entered. So all these things can kind of identify, these are your red flags that this might be scholarship fraud. If you're unsure on whether to pay for a company for a service that helps you find financial aid, you might ask yourself, what's being offered? Is the service going to be worth the money? Do the claims seem to be too good to be true? Because in a lot of cases, and with all types of fraud, if something sounds too good to be true, it most likely is. I'm going to hand it back over to Kara to talk about our next slide.
Okay. So now we'd like to know, what's your favorite hobby? So if you could enter that in chat for us. Okay, travel, basketball, soccer. Oh, piano. Programming. So we're getting a wealth of different answers. Movies I just saw. We can go on to the next slide. So of course, we asked that question because we want to get to know you a little bit better, but also because it's time to search. So if you're able on your device, go ahead, place whatever hobby you just shared with us in front of the word scholarships, and then do a search. Now I'm going to share a screen with you again. Okay, so you can see that just for fun, I put in Halloween scholarships. And indeed, I did find one. Halloween Express offers a scholarship. So that's just a demo to give you an idea that even things that maybe seem a little obscure can yield results for us if we take the time to do a search. So we can go back to the slides. And the next slide, please. Before today's webinar, I'm an avid reader, so I put in reading scholarship, and here are 5 of the many results that popped up. And we can go to the next slide. If you happen to be a gamer, guess what? There's scholarships for you too. For those that are gourmets, they're cooking scholarships. And then if anyone has an environmental bent, they're gardening scholarships too. So again, these are just examples of the number of opportunities that are out there if we take the time to conduct a search. A scholarship earned later in the semester can affect your financial aid package. Do you think that statement is true or false? Chat with us and let us know. Okay, looks like a few of us are unsure. Someone said true. I see another true. Okay, well, let's move on to the next slide. And yes, indeed, the statement is true. A scholarship earned later in the semester can affect your financial aid package. In fact, I've seen how a scholarship award can reduce a loan commitment. Now, if you have any questions about your award package, how to decipher it, make sure to check in with your financial aid counselor because they can help you better understand your full package. So now let's take a look at components of a scholarship application. Quite often, there's an essay or personal statement, a resume or activity list is being requested, an official transcript, letters of recommendation, FAFSA or financial information. And then in terms of other, there could be specific questions related to the opportunity, perhaps the request for a video or a photo. Let's take a closer look at the personal statement. Now, I know that all of you are familiar with the personal statement because your application for admissions at the University of Illinois required one. So you already know that you want to present your best self, which is also your true self. Personal statements tend to include your goals, your involvement, your qualifications for the opportunity. You want to share your personal story, and of course, demonstrate how you've grown and what you've learned from your prior experiences. I'd like to caution you to be modest. Remember, you want the selection committee to connect with you and select you. When drafting your personal statement, you want to gain the reader's personal attention. So consider an anecdote, a theme, or a journey. Again, we want the connection committee to connect with you and see how you best represent the values and brand affiliated with the scholarship opportunity. When addressing challenges that you may have experienced, make sure to eliminate pity, stick to the facts, focus on your lessons learned, and demonstrate your growth. There are several hazards that potentially could crop up as you submit your scholarship applications. And these are things that are within your control. So let's take a look at those. The first one is errors. Have you left questions unanswered? Do you have grammar mistakes? Do you have spelling mistakes? Make sure to proofread, and please enlist help. We know that sometimes we start to read what we know should be presented rather than what is actually captured. Inaccurate representation. Again, represent your best and truest self. I also caution, please do not copy the same essay and personal statement for every application, because you need to make sure that you're addressing what is being asked and you're addressing the focus of that scholarship opportunity. So you don't want your statements related to STEM to be the same statement shared for an application that's about community service or social justice. Oh my goodness, overlooking opportunities. If I had $1 for every time a student told me they only wanted to apply for scholarships that had awards of $10,000 or greater, well, I would have more to invest in scholarships for each of you. Please don't overlook scholarships with smaller awards. If you get a couple of those awards, those small amounts can add up and sometimes even surpass what your goal was with one award. And keep in mind that a smaller pool of applicants means that your chance of becoming a recipient is increased. So again, don't overlook the little guys. Social media presence. I'm sure you have a lot of people in your life that tell you to make sure that you're managing your social media presence. You don't want unfavorable content out there. Just like employers, selection committees often have someone who is checking social media to make sure that what you're presenting on the application is who you are and that all that aligns with the values and purpose of the scholarship. Last but not least, there are a lot of stressors that can be created by rushing. Please begin your scholarship search early. Prepare your scholarship applications well in advance of the deadline. Starting the early and planning accordingly can create a stress-free experience for you, and you might even like it.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how to manage a student account refund, because sometimes you get all these scholarships and you end up with an overpayment on your student account, which gives you a refund, which is great. But there are a few little components that I want to talk to you about how to manage that refund. So every semester, hundreds of students end up unable to register for classes even after receiving a refund. That means because there might be adjustments to their account made later or other things that are causing them to owe something and therefore become past due and end up with a financial registration hold. So what a student account refund is, I kind of already talked about this. They are a result of excess funds that have been applied to your student account for the current term. So you'll have tuition fees charged to your account, and then you might have loans, grants, and scholarships applied to your account. And anything over that amount, over the tuition and fees that's been charged, or other fees, maybe housing, will end up in a refund, and you'll get that direct deposit into your account if you signed up for direct deposit. So let's say you signed up for direct deposit and you want to know when your money is coming. If you're expecting a refund and you signed up for that direct deposit, it could take 2 to 3 business days to receive your refund. Business days are Monday through Friday. Typically, bankers' hours are between 9 and 5. So if you process a payment at 8 p.m. on a Friday, it might not be in your account until the following Wednesday, as long as there's no holidays to consider. So that's very important to consider. I'm going to have Kendra put in the chat how to sign up for direct deposit if you have not signed up for direct deposit. And if you haven't signed up for direct deposit and are expecting a refund, it could take several weeks or longer to receive your refund, just because a paper check has to be printed and mailed to your permanent address, which for a lot of students could be hundreds of thousands of miles away. So you want to make sure to sign up for a direct deposit if you have not already. And Kendra put in the chat already how to do that. So true or false, you could still owe money back to the university even after you have received a student account refund. And if you're paying attention, you should know the answer to this question. True, true, true. Okay, it is true. And there are lots of reasons why you could still owe money back to the university after you received a student account refund. Some examples are you have class adjustments that are made late. Maybe you added a class or maybe you dropped a class and that made some adjustments to your financial aid eligibility. Maybe you talked to your academic advisor or a professor about adding a course and it wasn't added until much later after your student loans and your scholarships had come through. So there could be an adjustment that needs to be paid for later. And there's other reasons that could end up with a charge on your account that you weren't paying attention to. So the best thing for you to do is to monitor your student account regularly, at least every month, and make sure to check it if you get any email communications from University Student Financial Services and Cashier Operations, or USFSCO. So if you get an email from them, pay attention to it. Do not ignore those because it could impact your ability to complete your degree. So make sure to respond when you get those communications from the billing office. Okay, we are running a contest, a campaign called Understand Your Refund, which you can enter to win up to one of 5 gift cards until March 15th. So you take a 10-question quiz about refunds, you'll learn a little bit about how to manage your student account, and we enter you into a gift card drawing. It maybe takes 10 minutes and you learn a lot and you get entered to win a prize. So I'm also going to talk a little bit about scholarships and taxes. And nobody associates taxes with scholarships. But according to the IRS website, and we'll put this link in the chat as well, how you use scholarships and fellowship funds can affect whether or not they are considered taxable. If you're in doubt on anything, make sure to save all your receipts and consult a tax professional. But according to the IRS website, if you use your scholarship funds or your fellowship funds for living expenses, all those could be considered taxable. There are only certain qualifying expenses that count as non-taxable. So That is something to be very mindful of. Don't go out and buy an iPhone with your scholarships, because that would make your scholarships taxable. Ta-da. Okay, so because their taxes are difficult, we're in the tax season, there are a few resources we wanted to put in the chat to give to you guys related to tax time resources. There's a couple different ones on choosing a tax professional. The IRS has a website specifically on choosing a tax professional, but the University of Illinois Extension also has a website on choosing a financial professional. So this includes people that are tax preparers as well as investment professionals. So if you wanted someone kind of do everything, that might be a good resource to start with. If you make less than $66,000 every year, you can use Free File to file your taxes for free, for your federal taxes. There's lots of different software that you can use through Free File to help you get your taxes filed for free, your federal taxes at least. State taxes are a different ballgame. And then there's an article from University of Illinois Extension educator Karen Chan that just came out in the last few weeks about how the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 will affect your 2018 taxes. So we're going to put that in the chat as well. Thank you, Kendra, for already doing that. So we've talked a lot about lots of different things: how to search for scholarships, how to prepare scholarship application materials, how to write a personal statement, what to consider when it comes to managing and spending your scholarship money. What is one thing you plan to do as a result of the information in this webinar? Put that in the chat for me so we can get a better idea of if this was a well laid out webinar, or we need to do some modifications for the next time that we do this webinar. So you can put that in the chat. That will help me out, and it'll help Kara out. We're going to have all the information from you guys. Verify if a site is a scam or not. That's a great way to make sure that you are taking information from this and applying it to your scholarship search. Keep them coming, keep them coming. So this is a earning badge eligible program. You can take this quiz to get credit towards the earning badge. The Student Money Management Center runs a digital badges program for the entire University of Illinois system, and earning is one of the digital badges that you can get through our digital badges program. You can take that quiz and let me know if it is not live, because I think I forgot to do that. But if you complete 3 educational activities related to earning, you will earn the badge, and we'll send you updates on whether or not you have earned that badge and what you've completed in order to do that. There are a total of 5 badges: earning, spending, protect, saving, and borrowing. And you can earn all 5 of those badges through our office. Our next webinar in the Making Money Moves webinar series is how to save money on food, which is also a Get Savvy webinar. So you can sign up for that at the link that Kendra just put in the chat there. And it's on Monday, February 26th at noon. So same kind of day and time as this one. It's going to be using a lot of data and research on money expenditures and how to minimize that and balance convenience as well as nutrition and the cost of groceries. So there's lots of ways to stay in contact with us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and we also have a lot of stuff that we put online. So if there are any questions, now is the time to ask them, and Kara and I, mainly Kara, can answer them.
And I'm delighted. I saw that some of the chat replies were people are going to engage in starting their scholarship search processes, and they're happy to have some of those links.
That's great. Great. I love it. And if you can't think of any questions today, that's completely understandable. You can email studentmoney@uillinois.edu and we can get answers to your questions as soon as we can.
And of course, I'm reachable at scholarshiphelp@uic.edu as well.
And we'll also upload the recording of this webinar to YouTube and send it out through a link later this week. Is there a reason for UI employees to seek scholarship dollars? Can you provide some more context to that for yourself, for your adult college students that are attending a state institution, is for the employee themselves? Okay. So would you like to answer that one, Kara? So we get a waiver, the U of I employees get a waiver
Okay.
for higher ed study. I have a clarifying question. Is this for graduate work or undergraduate study?
Looks like it's a doctoral program.
Okay.
I think just popped up.
So I have a couple caveats before Kara, you go, okay?
Okay.
So the tuition waivers available to employees for graduate study are taxable. Scholarships are not taxable depending on how they're used, but any amount over $5,250 that you receive in tuition and service fee waivers as a benefit of employment, no matter where you're employed, if it goes towards graduate study, anything over that $5,250 is taxable. And it has to be withheld on in the same calendar year that it is received. So you'll see a reduction in pay and your take-home pay when using those waivers. Theoretically, if you can reduce those waivers with scholarships that are not taxable, as long as you're using it for tuition and fees, you're going to reduce your tax liability. Now I'll let Kara go and expand on that.
So I actually don't have anything additional to add to that beyond the tax benefit and the waiver situation. And of course, I would say that depending upon which campus you're on, you might want to meet directly with your scholarship specialist to look at your full package, to examine, to make sure that you're getting the most benefit that you can.
And if you have any questions on the taxability of the tuition waivers, please, please, please set up an appointment with the Student Money Management Center. We're kind of the leads on the taxability of graduate level tuition waivers. We do individual appointments on tuition waivers for grad students and their taxability to help you calculate the anticipated reduction in income and also calculate the benefit, because having waivers are amazing when you consider having to take out loans as the alternative. We also have a question about the recorded version of the webinar being available. It will be available publicly, and we will also be sending out to anyone that registered. That was a good, complicated question for us to answer. Have you seen any other questions come in, Kara? I've gotten a couple privately that we already answered.
I have not.
Okay. All right. So if you guys have any questions later that you want to get answered, I know you have a busy Monday ahead of you, please email us. We'll also be emailing out the Student Money Management Center contact information, as well as Kara's office contact information for the UIC students that are on. So we'll stay on a couple more minutes, but please feel free to go if you have other things to go to. We have a good question for you, Kara.
Oh, yes. Okay. So the student is a junior in high school, And the question is, how early is too early for her to apply for money? So again, looking at the individual criteria and awarding periods for scholarship opportunities, typically they are awarded for that next academic year, but now is a great time to start exploring the opportunities that are out there that your daughter has a great match for. So that way you're prepared with what will be asked and can have a really competitive application for those opportunities. So again, thinking in terms locally of not only who might have the scholarship opportunities, but what are those things that are near and dear to your daughter that she can present her best self with. Those, in addition to her academics, her special interests are all things that you should be considering.
I got a private message from one of the attendees that stated that she's seen scholarships were only available to juniors in high school. And I have seen some scholarships that were for Money Smart Week that were only available to 5th through 8th graders.
Correct. And I've actually seen some for like 3rd to 5th grade as well. So, again, now's a good time to start that search, see what's available for the present, but then also see what will be available potentially for the future for the college years and graduate study and doctoral study.
Do you know the name of the third? Sorry, I'm getting private questions. If you can ask the questions to everyone instead of privately, that will help Kara and I answer them a little quicker. So
okay. Oh, I see one popped up about the sites that we provided for searching. Do they have scholarship opportunities for graduate and doctoral candidates as well as undergraduate? So if we're talking about the global sites such as scholarships.com, fastweb.com, yes, they do. If you were talking about our campus sites such as UIC SNAP, there are indeed opportunities for all levels there as well. Here at UIC, we also have a specialist within the graduate college who can help graduate students with their assistantships, fellowships, and scholarships.
There's also an Office of Fellowship opportunities on the Urbana campus if you're on the Urbana campus.
Okay, so I'm seeing 2 come through. One was asking for a reminder of the next webinar, which I believe it's February 20. Andrea, is it February 26th?
26th, February 26th.
Okay.
February 26th from March 3rd is also National America Saves Week. So that's why we're focusing on how to save money on food. It's one of the largest variation of spending categories for most people in the United States.
Okay, and then I see a question asking for the name, I believe, of a specific scholarship for the 3rd to 8th grade scholarships. And I don't have an exact name to provide, but certainly if you conduct, again, a Google search for elementary or grammar age scholarships, or putting in the level of years or ages will give you returns.
And I think I spoke a few minutes ago about the Money Smart Week Kid Essay contest that happens for 5th to 8th graders. It's managed by local campaigns, so I don't know if it's available in your area, but it's through the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago that runs the Money Smart Week events in April every year.
And I'll add to that that for our younger learners, there are a wealth of essay-related or writing-related scholarship opportunities. Again, conducting a search online will return the results for those opportunities.
I've also started seeing more video-based, video essay ones for high schoolers, but I can't remember what any of their names are.
One thing, Andrea, if I could add, speaking of the video submissions, please be aware again of the fine print for scholarship opportunities. Oftentimes your creative work becomes owned by the manager or the provider of the scholarship opportunity. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I just want you to look for those details so that you're aware of what you're committing before you submit the application.
That's an excellent thing to note, Kara. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you have questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat, but don't feel obligated to stay on if you don't have any other questions or need to go somewhere. Okay, I think we're done for today. So I'm going to go ahead and shut things down. Again, we will upload this to YouTube and make it available publicly and send it out to everyone that registered. So if you did not register and you just clicked the link from someone else, make sure to register for this program so we can send you the appropriate email with all the information we talked about today, as well as the link to the recording. So we'll make sure to put all those links in an easy to read format so you can access them at your own leisure. Anything else to add, Kara?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for their participation.
Yes, thank you for everyone for taking time out of your busy Monday to share with us and learn about scholarships. So have a great day and a great week.